Welcome, I'm Louise and here's what happened this week. Taiwan carried out its annual live-fire military drills designed to prepare the country for a possible Chinese invasion. This year's 5-day exercises come as China has been increasing military activity around Taiwan. Rick Lauer reports.
Taiwanese fighter jets rebasing from the country's west to the east in a simulation of what would happen should China attack. China claims sovereignty over Taiwan and has recently upped intimidation of the country, including sending military boats and planes into sensitive zones. These drills are part of the first day of Hangguang exercises, the nation's largest live-fire military drills, a response to that China threat. It's not just the armed forces involved in these mobilization exercises. Across the country, reservists like these are registering to take part in these massive military drills. All Taiwanese males must complete 1 year of mandatory military service, and then they can be called up as reservists for training. It's all part of Taiwan's war preparedness. Taiwan has recently lengthened conscription and revamped reservist training, including enlisting women into the ranks. The Hangguang drills also include responses to attacks on communications, cyber warfare, and air raid drills for civilians. Taiwan will also temporarily shut its main international airport to practice repelling an attack.
那另外一个比较明显不同的是，这一次把关键基础设施的防护列为整个演习项目的一个重点之一。
Hanging over the week's drills, Typhoon Doksuri, now heading towards the country. In response, the Defense Ministry has cancelled a major Air Force drill.
如果因为天候的因素导致科目调整或者是取消，那么各级部队会在后续的驻地专精基地跟联合等等阶段的训练当中，那么持续的以处处接战场的一个思维融入实施做训练的一个概念。
Much like the yearly typhoon season, an attack from China is an ever-present threat to the lives of Taiwanese. These drills are a reminder that to face up to this threat will require a nationwide response. John Su, Sam Hui and Rick Lauer for TaiwanPlus.
One focus of the drills has been protecting key infrastructure. Reporter Jaime Ocon went along to see how Taiwan's military would respond to an attack on the country's largest airport.
For the first time ever, Taiwan's military is conducting a simulated air attack here at Taoyuan International Airport. It comes as day 3 as Taiwan's annual military drills are underway, which tests the country's response to an attack from China. And a part of that response is on display here.
Troops are learning how to prevent Chinese soldiers from quickly capturing Taiwan's largest international airport. While soldiers have carried out similar drills in the past, this is the first time it's being done on a potential battlefield.
这个演习通常都是在其他地方做，或者是用模拟的方式。那这次很难得的采取实兵的方式，这也让整个的验证这次演习的实兵演练更接近实战的状况。
Because Taiwan is an island nation, airports and seaports are critical to connecting it with the outside world. In recent years, Beijing's threats towards Taiwan have increased, and so have its military operations in the region. But the two countries are separated by roughly 150 kilometers of ocean, which means an attack on Taiwan can only happen by sea or by air. In addition to helicopters, another possible scenario is Chinese aircraft parachuting in soldiers to capture the airport. If Taiwan doesn't contain and fend off this attack, China could land additional troops and push forward to the capital city Taipei, around 50 kilometers away. Exercises like these are so important for Taiwan because they can help the country adjust and correct its defense strategy.
Most important thing is get them before they land. So if we know that heliborne and airborne troops will be the primary transportation means, then you need to have short-range missiles and guns to take them down before they can land.
Taiwan has invested more in these types of anti-aircraft weapons, but these exercises are an opportunity for the military to see how its current defense plan holds up and if any changes are needed.
These drills lasted about 40 minutes. They impacted dozens of flights and affected thousands of travelers. Now, that might seem like it's a lot. It's a small price to pay considering what could happen if the military wasn't trained to defend this vital transport hub. Leon Lian and Jaime Ocon in Taoyuan City for TaiwanPlus.
This year's Hangguang exercises are the most comprehensive in the country's history. But what actually is different this time? To find out, Jaime Ocon spoke to Raymond Gore, a security analyst with the RAND Corporation.
Are there any major differences in this year's Hangguang exercises compared to the years before?
I think the fact that they're using civilian airports is a pretty big deal. It demonstrates, first off, politically, that Taiwan is taking this more seriously, right? If you're only focusing on the military and you kind of isolate the preparations for the military, it doesn't really have much an effect on the general population. It also means, therefore, that the general population isn't as engaged in, say, civil defense and preparation. I think also the fact that they're calling up the reservists, again, the same sort of kind of political or foreign policy signal that it's not just the elites or the political leaders, but the general public that's going to have to take part and prepare themselves for Taiwanese defense. So right off the bat, I think that's a big shift right there.
There's been debate over what kind of defensive strategy Taiwan needs, whether it be an asymmetric strategy with more mobile systems or a traditional defense strategy with things like tanks and fighter jets. But what do you think? What do you think Taiwan should pursue in its defensive strategy?
Taiwan needs to do both things, right? It's not just that on the asymmetric side, sure, having all the many small things are really important, as we've seen in Ukraine, for a small force to defeat a conventional invasion. But these sorts of sovereignty challenges, median line crossings, maritime coercion, where you need the symmetric forces of fighter jets or large naval vessels. So unfortunately, Taiwan needs to do both there. And if it's going to concentrate on one, if it's going to focus on the invasion, for example, then it needs to find some way to offset Chinese advantages in the other sort of gray zone symmetric area.
Another thing that Taiwan is focusing on in this year's exercises is air defense. Why is the Defense Ministry emphasizing this, and what is the importance of that?
Well, I mean, air superiority, or at least denying the enemy air superiority, is extremely important to not just the direct military conflict side, but also on the logistics side. Taiwan has to rely upon shipping. And one of the easiest ways for Chinese forces to disrupt that is the use of its rocket forces or its air force. They have the range, they have the speed, they have the capability. So the more that Taiwan is able to deny air superiority to the Chinese forces, the easier it is not just for the military fight, but also for the logistics fight.
That was Raymond Gore from the RAND Corporation speaking to Jaime Ocon. As soldiers practiced defending their nation, the Defense Ministry came under fire over its bulletproof vests. Legislators from Taiwan's ruling party say they're not up to military standard.
我们采购防弹背心的根据标准是 NIJ， 适用的是美国的执法人员，就是警察，这不是军规。
This comes after a viral video showed the vests failing to stop bullets similar to those used by Chinese soldiers. The Defense Ministry responded by holding its own demo, but some observers pointed out the ministry used less powerful bullets. The Defense Ministry has now promised to redesign the vests to US military standards. This week, attention was still on the mysterious whereabouts of China's now former Foreign Minister, Qin Gang. He disappeared from public view last month, and now he's lost his job. Bing Wang reports.
After a month-long absence from public view, China removed Qin Gang as its foreign minister. He was in the position for just 8 months. The reason for his abrupt departure was not given. Qin was a rising star in the Chinese Communist Party. China's President Xi Jinping referred to him as one of his most trusted advisors. Wang Yi will now take Qin's place, once again serving as China's foreign minister, a position he held for almost 10 years until 2022. Wang will also serve as head of the party's Foreign Affairs Commission, making him China's highest-ranking diplomat.
国家主席习近平7月25日签署第8号主席令：一、免去秦刚兼任的外交部部长职务。 任命王毅为外交部部长。
Despite rumors of a possible affair between Qin and a state-run media presenter, Beijing says his absence from high-ranking diplomatic meetings was due to medical reasons. When a reporter asked the Chinese Foreign Ministry about Qing's whereabouts, the spokesperson gave a tight-lipped response.
When will he return to public duties?
你这个问题我没有可以提供的信息。
All references to Qing have already been removed from the Foreign Ministry's website. It's unclear whether Qing will face disciplinary proceedings after his dismissal. And with China's typical lack of transparency, the reason for his ouster may never be revealed. Devin Tai and Bing Wong for TaiwanPlus.
For more, I spoke to Wendy Sung, a political scientist at Australian National University and an expert in elite Chinese politics. What are we to make of Qin Gang losing his job as Chinese foreign minister?
One way to look at it is the fact that Qin Gang has two jobs at the same time, both as foreign minister and as state counselor. Now, Qin Gang has only lost the first job, namely foreign minister. So there are a few ways to read this. First way is that Qin Gang is allowed to retain title as state counselor because it provides some kind of political protection for him. We know that in the politics world of dogs, people tend to kick you when you're down. So the fact that Qin Gang still has one important position still provides some kind of sign to Qin Gang's enemies domestically that, hey, Qin Gang is not politically dead, and therefore you may want to go easy on him. A second way to read it is that Qin Gang may potentially be undergoing an investigation right now for all these rumors that have surfaced around him. There's no point in handing punishment when he's not yet proven guilty yet.
Qin Gang was seen as a favorite of Chinese President Xi Jinping. So does his removal as foreign minister signal anything about Xi's grip on power?
I think the fact that Qin Gang gets to retain his position as state counselor for now is already a sign that President Xi Jinping's hold on power remains ironclad at this point. State counselor is essentially junior deputy premier in the Chinese system, which means that state counselor outrank foreign ministers. If the rumor is true that Qin Gang is a favorite of President Xi, then the fact that amidst all this pressure, all these controversies around Qin Gang, he is still able to retain a state counselor appointment at this moment. That's a sign that he's still in the good graces of President Xi.
Qin Gang hasn't been seen in public for about a month, and there's been a lot of rumors swirling around about him. What do you think's happened to him?
I think chances are that there may be some kind of investigation going on at the moment. So it's not appropriate for Qin Gang to be performing foreign minister's duty in public when there are so many other gossip that will be negative press whenever he shows up anyway.
Speaking there was Wendy Sung, a political scientist at Australian National University. Typhoon Doksuri passed by Taiwan this week and brought strong winds to some of its outlying islands. Classes were cancelled and businesses shut across much of southern Taiwan on Friday. But Tropical Storm Kar-Noon has formed to the east of the Philippines. It's expected to become a typhoon and pass to the north of Taiwan early next week. Thank you for watching Here's What's Happened. Remember to download the TaiwanPlus app for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally today, we leave you with images of inflatable mascots in Kaohsiung that were deflated ahead of Typhoon Doksuri. I'm Louise Watt. Take care, and we'll see you next week.
I'm James Chater in Hiroshima, Japan for TaiwanPlus News, a voice of freedom in Asia.